Looey has the most utility out of any toon in the game, and in this video I'll show you how to properly use him. The best part about Looey is that he can be used as a distractor and extractor, both extremely effectively, so let's go over the basics. Looey's stats are very simple, base stats, but a star stealth moved into skill check. This makes him a very valuable distractor, and his 2-star stealth lets him grab twisteds and keep them on him easier, while not bothering nearby extractors. On top of that, his passive is straight up broken. He gets a 20% speed boost based on how many hearts he loses, meaning 2 hearts, he gets a 20% boost, and at 1 heart, he gets 40%. This ability alone is great, but there's something that nobody seems to acknowledge about this passive. Since this buff is percentage based, it multiplies with trinkets to make the buff even stronger than it's supposed to be. So let's say he gets buffed by 20% for being at 2 hearts, and you're using optimal distracting trinkets, being Dog Plush and Speedy Shoes. Dog Plush plus Speedy Shoes alone is a 15.5% buff to walk speed, but then you add the 20%. Since Dandy's world percentages are multiplicative, we add 15.5% and 20% together, and since 15.5% of 20% is 3.1%, we add that as well. Sorry if this gets a little confusing, but in summary, we add these values to get a passive walk speed buff of 38.6%, making Looey's speed at 2 hearts roughly 20.8 walk speed. So on 2 hearts, he's faster than base Pebble. This effect is only amplified at 1 heart, so by the same logic, 40% plus 15.5%, 15.5% of 40 is 6.2. Add all that together and you get a passive walk speed buff of 61.7%. This is a 61.7 walk speed buff to a 15 movement speed character, giving you a walk speed of roughly 24.3. This is only 7 units below Twisted Pebble, by the way, and with Clownhorn or Ribbon Spool plus Dog Plush, you can outwalk him at 25.1 movement. But I won't bore you with the math. So we've established that Looey has very good potential when it comes to movement speed, being the fastest toon in the game with his passive and the right trinkets. Now it's time to dig into how to utilize his movement speed. Starting the round, I suggest staying at 3 hearts for as long as possible. This isn't necessary, you can go down to 2 immediately, but you can still distract at 3 hearts as long as you sprint tap. Generally though, once your first initial hit, your goal is to hover at 2 hearts for the rest of the round. At 2 hearts, your walk speed is roughly 21, meaning you can distract nearly every twisted in the game alone. If you need tips on how to distract twisteds, I'll link a video in the description. Almost any twisted combo is fair game at 2 hearts, you're fast enough to outwalk nearly anything. The items you grab and supply yourself with are very important. I recommend keeping a band in your 3rd slot at all times. A med works just as well, but I'd suggest not grabbing medkits as you're going to want to be at 2 hearts almost all the time. A medkit is almost as redundant as a main picking up a bandage. Treat your hearts like a mains. You can still take meds though. I find an additional heart is helpful in some situations. More heals is always better. For your other 2 item slots, I heavily recommend a box of chocolates, as chocolates actually give you more value due to his passive multiplying with the run speed. And finally, make sure to keep a bottle of pop, as this could save you from having to go down a heart for some combos, mainly the V combinations. With this kit, you should be completely set to distract almost anything at 2 hearts. In fact, I heavily discourage going down to 1 heart unless there's no other way to distract something. The only time you should have to go down to 1 heart is if Pebble is on the floor or there's faster twisted paired with V, such as Shelly or Toodles. As Looey at 1 heart, you can distract Pebble with commons and even other mains very easily. As you can see in this recording right here, with some help from Astro and Looey at 1 heart, I was able to distract 4 mains at once with relative ease. This is still very risky though, considering the fact that if you get hit 1 time, you're going to die. This is why I heavily recommend paying close attention to what is going on, and prepare to use heals if you're about to suddenly get hit. Reaction time is key when playing Looey, and you need to act accordingly when you have a high chance of getting hit abruptly. This is all you need to know about Distractor Looey, but he has 2 playstyles. Looey is an all-rounder, meaning he can be played as an extractor too. For trinket combinations, I recommend Magnifying Glass plus Participation Award due to him having 4 stars of skill check. If you are extracting as Looey, typically you manage your hearts like any other toon, keeping them as high as possible at all times. This isn't to say that there aren't times you can use his passive though. If a particularly fast twisted is on the floor like Pebble or mains like V and Shelly, I suggest going down to 2 hearts so you can escape easily. This makes your run speed 30 at 2 hearts, so you should be able to escape nearly anything. For items, you usually won't need escape items due to you being naturally fast. I'd still usually keep a bottle of pop or a box of chocolates with 2 medkits if possible. With this setup, you should be a fast extractor and be quick to escape twisteds. This works especially well for solo runs, but you can still do this in team runs. Speaking of team runs, you can still distract as Looey with Magpart. At 2 hearts without speed trinkets, your walk speed is 18, which matches almost all the commons and most of the uncommons, so you can back up distract if necessary. This has been a guide on how to play Looey at his full potential. As always, feel free to leave tips in the comment section about other tips you may have for playing Looey, because I might have not covered everything in this video. Thanks for watching, bye bye!